One of the most painful things you can go through in an intimate relationship is a sexual betrayal, whether that is an affair, physical affair, an emotional affair, a sexual addiction, or anything else that breaks that special bond that you have with your partner in with fidelity is incredibly disruptive and hard to go through. Like anything else in life, you will have to go through the grief process. The grief process is normally 5 stages. It is very similar to what you normally go through with just a little bit of difference. So I'm going to apply it to a sexual betrayal. This also could be a betrayal with money, where you thought somebody was putting your money away, and then all of a sudden you found out that your spouse had been hiding all the money and gambling it away or spending it on something else, or and then all of a sudden you have no money left to enter retirement, or if your child was stealing money, or if a parent betrayed you and gave all the money to your sibling and didn't leave you with anything, when the idea was always presented as if they were going to leave you with part of their inheritance, or a friend stole money in a business or undermined you and took the business from you. Any type of betrayal would be this, but I'm going to focus on the grief process that you go through from a sexual betrayal, because that's most likely the people that would be looking for the video. So the first thing that you go through is shock. Shock and denial. So anytime that we have something happen that's kind of out of nowhere that we didn't expect, we are going to go through an emotional shock. Emotional shock means that it seems impossible. You disbelieve it. It can't be true. So, and then along with that, sometimes you deny it. You may go through shock, denial, and then as you're starting to kind of process it, it'll be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this happened. And no, that can't be true. It can't be true. I've noticed with myself that when I go through that I will often wake up in the middle of the night, and when I'm in the middle of shock with something I didn't expect that I'm dealing with, and I'll wake up in the middle of the night and I'll think the first thing that will pop into my mind is, no, it's not true. It can't be true. And then it'll be, but it is. No, it's not. It can't be true, but it is. And it's like you're the world is trying to get you to see the truth, but your subconscious, your conscious, your emotions are trying to put blinders on. And you're going to go back and forth with this until it's something that you can slowly begin to accept or embrace as really happening. So you could feel some numbness. You could feel some like inability to function, like you have trouble getting up for work, you have trouble figuring out what clothes to wear, you have trouble deciding what to eat, you have trouble focusing on anything else. Just taking care of the kids feels impossible. Writing out a check, thinking about a project that you need to do or something that you need to do at work, you could just find yourself barely functioning. Shock is actually an emotional shock, is you might feel numb. You might feel like kind of tingly or kind of shut down or disassociated or just kind of like in another world. All of those are kind of symptoms of shock. Something that you didn't expect to happen, that you're all of a sudden confronted with having to recognize. And it's just, and I think it's God's grace that we do this, because rather than being dysfunctional, it is kind of like a buffer. It gives you like the time to slowly come to terms with something that might be so overwhelming if you had to embrace it immediately, that maybe it would be push you over the edge, right? So it's our bodies do this physically when we're in an accident or we're shot or something is super painful, the body naturally kicks in the endorphins, which are pain, like the natural body's natural analgesic. It is the way that the body keeps you from feeling all the pain of an injury, which is wonderful because then you are not going to just, be unable to tolerate it. So it's kind of like God's natural shock absorber at the beginning when something is just too painful. Now, these phases, you can go in and out them, go back and forth as you're confronted with a little bit more of the reality, or you find something new out, or you get a little bit far and then you feel a little bit insecure and you step backwards. You might jump forward and then jump back. So this is doesn't they don't have to be linear. So just understand them and recognize when you're going through them. The next one is pain and guilt. So a little bit of shock has worn off. And the first thing when you're confronted with betrayal is, oh my gosh, it's my fault. I should have done something different. It's my fault. And it's incredibly painful. So you have intense emotional pain and a lot of self-blame, like looking at yourself and feeling like, oh, I wasn't enough. I wasn't a good enough partner. I wasn't a good enough spouse. I wasn't a good enough sexual partner. I wasn't pretty enough. I wasn't good looking enough. I wasn't able to make enough money. I wasn't able to be the right person. I failed, in whatever way that you're thinking that you failed. So it's that self-blame is literally comes typically before you blame the person who's doing it. So you think, I am worthless. I wasn't enough to keep this person from straying. I wasn't enough to keep this person off of porn. I wasn't enough to keep this person from looking outside the marriage. When that's not true, okay, it's a personal choice for somebody to engage in those things. It has nothing to do with you. It has to do with the other person's character, the other person's choices, but that is the natural thing to do. It is out of your control. It is overwhelming. It is incredibly painful. What do? We automatically look to ourselves and think, if it's my fault, then maybe there's something I can do to fix it. It's not uncommon when you found out that your spouse is betrayed you, is having an affair, or is even in just an emotional affair at the office, or looking at porn, that you think, well, how can I make myself more attractive? So maybe you'll go get a different haircut. You wear different clothes. You'll think about how you can become more sexual or sexually attractive, to where you're thinking, if I can only get this person to look at me again, then I won't have to deal with all this. All of this will go away. So it might be in that panic that comes before you get to a place where you can work through all of this, the panic that sets in when you come out of that shock and denial is, I gotta fix this. I gotta figure out what to do to make this go away, to win this person back. And that's a phase. And, you know, don't beat yourself up. It's pretty common for you to do something like that. It might even beg the person, please, like, don't break up our family, don't break up our marriage, don't, you know, stop doing this, or quit your job, or let's run away, or let's move, or let's have another baby, or let's get a different house, or let's go into that business together that you've always wanted to do. Just that panic of appeasing to try to get this to go away. And then at some point, you go into anger and resentment. Anger at the betrayal, at the injustice, at the wrongness of this person doing this to you. Like, how could you? And it can be intense. You can want to destroy that person. You can want to tell the world about it. You can want to go after, if there's another person involved, you can want to destroy that other person's life or confront that other person or damage your partner's property because you want to just act out on that rage that you're feeling. You got to be careful. You don't want to do things that you will regret, but it's okay to feel the anger. And sometimes the anger is at God, like, God, why didn't you stop it? God, why didn't you let me figure this out? God, why didn't you let me um, see what was happening? It can also be at yourself, like, why didn't I get it? Why didn't I see it? Why did I ignore the signs? Why did I not put two and two together and get four so that I could figure this out soon enough or sooner, or and I could have prevented it, by setting an early boundary or something. So I mean, the anger can be really strong and really intense, and it can last a while. Um, you the anger just at yourself for not seeing it and not recognizing it, especially if it's something that's gone on for a long time. And, as you are looking at this and now little images are coming into your mind and you're thinking, oh, that was a sign, that was a sign, that was a sign. I ignored those signs. I was ignorant and I was stupid. Why didn't I get it when my spouse kept going out of town and, all of a sudden was dressing differently or, staying late at work or whatever it was that was going on. It's like, why didn't I see that? So let yourself have the anger. This is where Christians mess up because they think, oh, I can't be angry because be angry and sin not. It's like, well, I better not tell my spouse I'm angry. I better not let him know I'm really angry. How could you do this to me? And I'm not allowed to be angry with God. Anger is a normal godly reaction to injustice, a normal godly reaction to wrongdoing. Having your partner betray you, cheat on you, is wrong. It's okay to be angry with that. God is. God hates it. God's not okay with it. You can be angry too. Just don't do anything you regret and don't hurt someone, right? But to have the anger is totally normal, totally okay. And then you go through the bargaining and the kind of like trying to figure out how could I have prevented it. So this is a little bit kind of an outcropping of the anger at yourself toward and God for like why, and even your spouse, the other person, maybe and the person that your spouse is having the affair with, if only this had happened, then this would have prevented it. So, just if only God had allowed me to see this, if only I had seen it sooner, if only I had, gone into business with my spouse when, he or she asked me to do that, if only we had moved, if only I hadn't gone back to work and I was able to give my spouse more attention, if only I had if only he hadn't switched to this new job. If only she hadn't gone back to work after the baby. Whatever it is, just the bargaining. And this is again part of our subconscious, unconscious mind figuring out how we could not have to deal with this. Like, if only this and this had been different, I would not be dealing with this pain right now. I would not have to keep working through this grief process and figure out how to get to a place of acceptance and healing from this. I would not be dealing with it. So it's just another layer of our brains trying to come to terms with it. All of these are healthy. All of these are necessary. All of these are good. All of these will allow you to get to the end, which is a necessary place to process the grief so that you are not held back by it. You don't want to be stuck in denial. You don't want to be stuck in bargaining. You don't want to be stuck in anger. You don't want to be stuck in self-blaming. You don't want to be stuck in the intense pain, The next one is sadness. That's where you just feel the depression. You withdraw from people. You feel isolated. You lose your feelings of pleasure. You don't care about anything. You're just depressed. You can't get out of bed. You don't have hope. You feel like your life is over. You feel like nothing will ever be good again. You just, it's this feeling of actually that we associate with grief, which is the sadness and the crying and the hopelessness, but it is only one stage of grieving. And it is necessary, though, because it allows you to feel the depth of the sadness, because the sadness is loss. Sadness has to be felt when you lose something. You are sad for losing something valuable to you. And even if you end up staying with this person, you have lost the innocence of your relationship, of never having had the betrayal. The relationship is going to be different. It will never be where you have this naivety where it is, this person would never cheat on me. It's not going to be like that again. So you are losing something, and you have to grieve that deeply and allow yourself to feel it, to cry, allow yourself to hurt. And just if it lasts too long, with something as big as this, you may need to see a doctor and get some medication like antidepressants if you are just, especially if you're prone to depression and this kind of pushes you over the edge, or if you cannot get out of it and you're completely non-functional for an extended time period, you may need some help. But the purpose of feeling this is to come to terms with it. Remember, I said that a couple of these other ones are just to like kind of figure out how could I make it to where I wouldn't be dealing with this? Well, this one is giving into it. I'm dealing with this. I have to deal with this. My spouse betrayed me. My partner betrayed me. My sibling, my parent, somebody betrayed me. I have to go through this. And if you don't, you, like I said, it's not healthy. So then when you get through this, you get into what is called acceptance, which is where you heal and where you have hope. The acceptance is, okay, it happened. Now what? I'm going to come to terms with the truth about it and the reality. And then I'm going to say, now what? I'm going to believe that I can move forward. Acceptance means you hold out your hands, you take what is offered. It is the opposite of going, no, 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 this isn't true. This isn't true. It didn't happen. This isn't what is part of my life. No, if you keep doing that, that's where you stay stuck. But once you go, okay, this is my reality. This is what happened. Now, where do I go from here? Well, you can choose. Do I want to heal with my partner, my spouse? Or do I need to separate? You definitely need to have both of you go into recovery programs and get help with counseling. And the one who had the betrayal, did the betrayal, needs to take responsibility and needs to work through that and needs to grieve what they've done to you. And but this is the place where you decide, am I going to attempt to heal with this person, or was this breach such that I cannot heal with this person? Is this person doing the things that need to be done and that will allow me to heal the relationship? Not just pretend it never happened, not gloss it over, but restore it. True healing and reconciliation has to do with restoring the relationship. That's a lot of work on both of your parts. That's a decision, and it will require different things from both of you, but it is where you get to choose at any time that you're ready to make that decision. Am I done, or am I going to move forward? And so that is the grief process for a sexual betrayal, or like I said, any betrayal. 6 stages. First is shock and denial, pain and guilt, anger and resentment, bargaining, looking for how it could have been prevented, searching for answers, depression and isolation, feeling incredible sadness. And the last is acceptance, hope, and healing. So I hope this has helped you. There's a lot out there that can guide you toward this. If you need suggestions on programs, you can email me, or programs, I mean, like by options that are available. Women find my courses for women in difficult marriages and transforming difficult relationships very helpful for helping them to get healthier and deal with this type of thing in a marriage. So that's something you could look into. But please, if you have questions about that, please feel free to contact me. So I wish you absolute health and hope if you are going through this. It is painful, but I can tell you and promise you that you can come out on the other side of it to where you find healing. God bless you.